So about a month ago, we listed our home, a three-bedroom condo in preparation for our next home that will be completing in May. Now, when we were listing it, we're pretty worried because the market was very slow and we're hearing a lot of deep discount from other sellers. However, what ended up happening is we sold our home within 48 hours of the first ever open house we done and at a price that we're looking for. Now, in the last 6 years, we've bought and sold homes around 4 times. Mostly they were principal with one rental on the side. Now, there were always few things that we've done to help us sell our home relatively quick in the past years. However, it was always in a hot market, so I wasn't surprised. But seeing this time in such a slow market, we got similar result as well. I thought I'll make a video on exactly what we have done. So if you're thinking about selling your home as well, hopefully this video can help you. And in this video, we'll be talking about 4 things that we go through. Number 1 is prepping the house for sale. Number 2 is pricing your home. Number 3 is negotiating. And number 4 is bringing the deal to a finish line. All right, so the first part is prepping your home for sale. And this is the part I see a lot of new sellers, they don't put enough effort into it because they're often thinking, I just need to make it look decent, pretty nice, and it's good to go. Now, in my opinion, I think nice enough is not enough if you want the best price or a price that you like in such market. You have to make it absolutely top condition before you put it on the market. So not only do you have to make it look tidy, it has to look like a show home and looks as if no one's living here already. So let me show you an example of my current home, which is where I'm sitting right now. I'm moving some furnitures. This is likely the last time I'll be in my old home. And I thought I'll give you a little bit of tour on what does my open house look like. So let's go. So here is basically the entrance, and this is what it looks like for our open house. And all these stuff is not supposed to be here. I'm just left it here for now because I was cleaning up stuff. But yeah, as you can see, it looks very clean. It looks as if no one's living here, except with some essential furnitures that will be moving to our next home, our TV. Everything else that we can pack away, we packed away. These are my new furnitures for my next home, so I'm just using it right now as a storage space. So what we've done is we did a deep clean about 3 weeks before we went on vacation. Everything that we can throw away that we won't be bringing over, we threw them away. And everything that doesn't help the space, we ripped out. So for example, like there used to be a two computer desk here. So I decided to take the 2 desktop away, packed everything. So now when people come in, it looks such much bigger space, and it helps people envision where they will be staying, how they will be placing their furnitures. But the truth is, did we move a lot of stuff away? Not really, because if we are opening the shelves, everything is actually still here. It's just packed neatly in boxes. My kids' stuff, it's all in boxes, hidden behind a shelf. So when you come in, it looks like there's nothing. Because keep in mind, we're living with a toddler, so it looks like a war zone on any normal days. So we spent 3 weeks on it, and then we went on vacation. The house is empty, and I told my realtor, come take pictures, list it, do an open house, and see if we get any offers. All right, so as you can see, we spend a lot of time to clean the house to make it look very neat as if no one's staying here. Now, I do realize this tip is more applicable if you're in your principal home. If you're selling a rental with a tenant in there, it might be a lot more difficult or maybe not desirable to get that person out just so you can clean. This really depends on what your target market is. If you're selling to someone that's more family use, that's your target audience, then maybe you do want to get rid of a tenant and then deep clean so then it looks better. People can envision staying here. If you're selling to someone that's, a location that's rental focused, you're likely selling to an investor. They might actually want to keep your tenant and just take over the contract, and they can keep renting and right away and not lose any profit. So you really have to gauge who is your target market and then make your choice accordingly. Now, the second and the most important point of keeping the house almost empty is to signal to the buyer that you don't necessarily need to sell, you're not pressed to sell, even though that might not be true. Because if I'm a buyer and I walk in and I see things everywhere and you're obviously still staying here, then maybe you're more desperate to sell, maybe you're on a tighter time schedule. That signals to me maybe I can, ask for a deeper discount. So in my experience, if you can keep your house very clean, often you do not get any lowball offer, and you can make your sale pretty smooth. All right, so now moving on, let's talk about the second point, and that is pricing your unit. Now here, the best advice I would give you is, while your realtor is going to be very helpful and give you a lot of numbers to work with, at the end of the day, it is your own unit, so you probably know it the best. So you also have to put in your own effort and your own opinion on what the best price should be. For example, for this unit, because the number of sales is just so low recently, based on whatever little information we have, the realtor told me that I think 1.15 or 1.16 mil would have been the highest price we can ask for, which is not ideal in our case because in order for us to break even, we really wanted to sell it at 1.2 mil. Now, while 1.2 mil was actually what we got at the end, my realtor's recommendation of 1.15 mil was actually the right number at the end because something did happen. It almost affected us, but we still got the 1.2 mil. I'll talk about that in a bit. Now, what we did was while researching what was selling around us, we saw there was a unit in our building a little bit above us selling for 1.29 mil for over a year and still haven't sold yet. And we were looking at this and my wife and I were saying we can actually use this to our advantage. Since we are going to prep our house a lot better than the unit that was selling above us, they looked very cluttered, it wasn't very appealing. We were thinking that if we were going to list at 1.25 mil, it would look like, in comparison, a huge saving. It also gives us a lot of room for the buyer to negotiate with us and bring the price down, maybe towards the 1.2 mil, which wouldn't matter anyway because that's the price we wanted to sell at. So we brought this plan to our realtor. She agreed with it. We listed at 1.25 mil. First open house, we got an offer right away. So now let's go to the next part, which is negotiation. So for negotiation, I would say the thing you need to keep in mind is know what is your ideal situation, your constraints, and what is your bottom line. So for our situation, because we have our next home completing in May, and to not lose too much money, I would like to sell it at 1.2 mil right now. Every month after May that we do not sell, we have to borrow more money, and those extra borrowing will incur about $5,000 to $6,000 of extra interest per month, which is very unideal. So my bottom line is, if I can sell it by 1.2 mil, that's perfect. If I can't do it by May, we probably have to drop it to maybe 1.18, 1.16 maybe even, because selling at 1.18 around May would be the same as if I keep it as 1.2 mil, but I sell it 3 months later because my extra interest on the other side would have eaten away any extra profit anyway. So with that in mind, we start negotiation with the current offer. So the buyer came in with a 1.18 mil as an initial offer, and this is expected in such a slow market. But 1.18 mil is high enough within the range that signals to us that this person is not playing around. He's quite serious, so we can do some actual negotiating. Now, what we have done here, because 1.18 is actually quite close to my 1.2 mil ideal price target, we could have just offered 1.2 mil and hoped to get the deal done. But from our experience of selling homes previously, we noticed that buyers always like to do at least 2 counter offers back and forth before they really settle on a price. I'm not sure why. I think that's a psychology thing. Maybe 2 negotiation feels like they're getting the best price out of us. So instead of just doing the 1.2 mil, what we've done is actually we came back with a counter offer, but with 2 options. We told the buyer, if you can complete in March, then we will sell it to you at 1.21. But if you have to wait and complete by end of May, then we'll sell it to you at 1.23. Now here, I know full well there will be a second counter offer. That's why I bump it up by about 10,000 higher than what I would have sold it at, because I do expect to come back at either 1.2 mil by March or 1.22 mil by May. And here you might be asking, why am I offering 2 offers? So first of all, I want to cover the basis of a completion date, because that is also a point of negotiation and potentially can be an issue. I don't know what my buyer wants to do. They may want an early completion, they may want a late completion. So by offering 2 different options just at different price, I can cover this base. I do not want to further negotiate completion date with them. So they can pick and choose what they want. Now, second of all, is in my perspective, it doesn't really matter which one they pick, because if they were to pick the early completion, they save 20K. But if I get that 1.21 or 1.2 mil earlier, how about 3 months early? My current bank is doing 5% promotion at that time for 4 months. So I could have placed my 1.2 mil in my high interest saving account, which for that 3 months would generate around 15K. Yes, I have to pay some tax, but it really doesn't matter. At the end, it would actually bring me pretty close to my May offer. So both offer that we give to the buyer land us to a very similar situation, but in buyer's perspective, it's more flexible for them. And also it feels like they can pick and choose and pick the better deal for themselves. And as expected, they came back with the 1.2 mil counter offer and to complete in March. So we were happy with that, very happy with it. So we just said, done deal. And now we're moving on to the last part, which is bringing this to a finish line because it's not done yet. So the last part is bringing this to a finish line, which a lot of new sellers do not know because they forget there's something called subject removal, which is a bunch of conditions you have to fulfill as a seller before you really lock this in place. Now for us, the subject removal was to financing and to inspection, which is typical in a slow market. Financing part was fine. But when it comes to inspection, their inspector told us that there was some issue with the glasses and there was a crack there. And our buyer is telling us that unless we fix the crack before completion, they were not going to remove the subject. Now, I contacted the strata company because that's their responsibility, but they quoted me that at least 1 to 1.5 months. So that would put us way outside of the completion date. Now, seeing that, the buyer actually gave us two options because they're going away on vacation for 6 weeks. They say, number one, they can retain this contract, this offer in place. We just have to move our completion date back to May and we just fix the glass before then, it will be all fine. Second offer is they retract the contract, they go on their vacation and they come back and they will make another offer by then if we can fix the glass then. So we were actually very tempted to take option 2 to retract the contract for two reasons. Number one is we were supposed to get 20K more if we complete in May. That was our second offer, but now we don't get it if we sign on to this. And second reason is there is actually two other groups of buyers waiting to make an offer if this one falls through. We don't know how much they're making and they wouldn't make it until this is retracted. So we may or may not get a better deal or better term. However, remember what I said in the last part is know your bottom line and know your constraint. First of all, 1.2 mil is already good enough, even though, it sucks that we didn't get the 1.22 mil now that we're completing later. But my biggest constraint, right? Our biggest concern is moving into our new home by May and without holding onto this property because it would have cost us 6K per month. Now, knowing this, we took the safer route and we told them we're going to retain, we're going to push the completion back and we're just going to focus on the glass, okay? Which actually turned out to be the perfect and the right decision because for two things. Number one is the crack is not even a crack. We got the glass company here to fix. They looked at it. They said it's just a rubber string attached to the window that looked like it's a crack from the outside. If you remove it, it'll be fine. So I don't know how the buyer's inspector missed this. It's a pretty simple thing for them to find out, I'm sure. But it's not on the buyer. It's really on the inspector. He did a poor job, but it's fine. It is what it is. We signed already. We're going to complete in May. Second, and the most important reason is right after we removed subject, actually a unit came out a couple floors above us, same unit on the market for 1.1 million is the price, which is 150K lower than what we listed for. So it's great that we locked in because if we hadn't and we tried to get a better deal with the other two buyers or better terms or complete in March, and this unit comes out with 150K discount, I'm 100% sure that by now, I would not be making this video with you talking about me selling my house. I'll be making this video asking someone to buy it off of me at a deep discount because there's no way I will be able to sell it at the price I want with a 1.1 mil unit above me. So this is what I want all sellers to keep in mind when you're selling your house is what is your objective here? Is it selling in time? Is it maybe potentially squeezing 10,000, 20,000 off of the next offer? And what kind of market are we going through? You have to be very clear. Because don't get greedy, especially if holding two property is going to be very costly for you, like it is for us. Keep your objective clear, play it safe, so then you can bring your deal to a finish line. All right, so that's basically it. It's somewhat eventful. It's definitely more ups and downs than my usual experience, but we still got it done because we had a very clear plan and we executed, I would say, pretty smoothly. So for you, hopefully this can help you, bring you some more ideas on how to prep your own sale to make sure you get the best price, the best term that you can look for. And of course, find a realtor that is professional and you can work with. The one that I'm using, Carolyn, she's always been with us for the last 5-6 purchase or sale of our homes. She's very hardworking, very quick, and she always get the job done. And also, I would say it's important to find a realtor that has good luck. I would say she has very good luck. Every time she lists, within a week, she gets amazing offers. So I think it's partly us, but it's partly her as well. So of course, find someone you can work with. All right. Now, if you have any questions or any comments about buying or selling your home, any tips from your side you want to share with everyone, leave me a comment down below. If you like more of these videos, I don't want to say I try to upload them every 2 weeks. I've been MIA for a couple of months because of moving, because of my kid. I'm solo parenting in the daytime, so I don't have time for videos. But I do want to come back probably around July when my kid goes to daycare. I will definitely jump back in a more regular schedule. So, but if you have some topics you want me to prep on, leave me a comment as well. All right. This is Jacky. I hope you found this interesting. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.